All right. Hello, everyone. And hello, Stephanie. How are you this
Hi,
morning?
Jen. I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, let me get all my little notes up here. I got this.
I
Woohoo!
know. Someone went and had surgery on us.
I had surgery on my hand. Yeah. They told me originally it's like, 10 days. And no, it's going to be like 16 days before I get this off. And let me just tell you, and he's like, he tells me before the surgery, I said, what are my restrictions? He's like, don't lift anything heavier than a cell phone. And I said, can I type? Can I use my hands? He's like, yeah. I want you using your fingers. Yeah, well, this takes up so much room on the keyboard. I can't really type. I'm like, this. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
no. But the good
Lots of
news is,
typos.
well, and the funny thing is as authors in the business, like when you tell us you want us to type, but that it takes minutes,
Right?
like that's no fun. That's
No,
no fun.
it's not, but at least it's not my right hand. So I can still use my mouse, which is awesome. So, and I played around with the little dictation. Yeah, dictation. No. It's
That
weird.
is true.
Like dictating emails is just an effort and frustration. I'm sure there's a whole learning curve to all of that. But my, whoever's the little dictating genie in my Mac apparently does not understand a lot of my words. And I don't think I have like an accent or anything. So I'm not
Well,
sure
it
why
was
she
definitely
trouble,
not like me.
right?
I mean, when
Um,
a y'all comes
so
out, it wouldn't know what to do.
Well, and this is, I mean, in the writing world, we do talk about this, right? Because some of the most unhealthy things to do is sit at a desk all day. And so, you got to get up and move around. And there are plenty of people who've worked at dictating, because then they can dictate while they walk. And it's a different brain wiring. There's definitely a process to it. And some people, I think it's easier than others.
Yeah.
I am really tactile when I write. So I
Mm.
need to like touch the keys or write longhand or get a whiteboard out or something. Like whenever I'm blocked, I've got to like physically touch something.
Uh-huh.
And so it brought up when I was trying to do some of the dictating, just a lot of pauses as I was thinking about what I was going to say next.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways,
Well,
it's
that's
an interesting thing.
interesting. I'm the same way, Jen. I recently, so when my kiddos turn, I have a birthday. We do surprise birthdays here at the
Oh,
house,
fun.
and they don't know what's going to happen. So on last Monday, August 1st, that was last week, right? I think yeah, because
Yes.
that was surgery day,
Yes. Monday.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we took my son to go swimming in the middle of the Red River Gorge. So two big,
Oh,
massive hills in the mountain has this amazing pool. So that was a
wow.
surprise. Well, it's about 2 hour drive there. And as you know, I'm working on a book and I still have
Yes.
chapters I have to get out of my head. So I was
Yeah.
dictating them. And I'm
Wow.
like, this is not fun. This is not fun at all. I don't like it all because I'm like you. I need to touch it like before my eyes,
Yeah.
and then it just flows from me. I mean, I got them out,
Yeah.
but it was not easy. But I hear other people that are not like that. The
Hmm.
dictating services are extremely helpful.
And I have friends that have lots of ideas. And she used to actually use like Voxer or Marco Polo, and she would read her chapters to me because I didn't have time to read them. And so
Uh-huh.
she would read them to me. And, while I'm doing other things, I could
Uh-huh.
listen to it and then I could give her feedback.
Uh-huh.
And it was really interesting. And she felt it was helpful for her because she caught errors as she was doing it. So I think, you
Hmm.
know, some people are different. And I'm always a fan of, I always say experiment, try some stuff,
Yeah.
see if it works for you. So I think
Yeah.
there's, something to be learned there. And it definitely was a little bit of a wake up call in the fact that, we rely on our bodies to get out of whatever's in our head, right? To produce our books, to
Mm.
make our products. And
Yes.
so if our bodies stop being able to do that, what do, right? There's going to have to be a little bit of something. But there's wonderful transcription software now that's getting much better. I know many people that do a lot of the dictating, they dictate into, an app or a recorder, and then they send it to a transcription service who can figure out what you're trying to say better maybe than the software.
That's crazy. Or I've heard a lot of people using AI to like write blogs and such. I have very mixed opinions about it, maybe because, I don't know, mixed opinions about it, but this is what you and I do for livings.
Yeah.
But I know other people don't and could really benefit from that. I have a friend that just did it with a blog. She was a little skeptical because she thought, well, what about plagiarism and such? And she ran through all the plagiarism softwares and it was not. It was perfectly unique. And I'm like, well, that is interesting.
Nice.
So, it's also just proof to not, if you find that you have a message you need to get out and you are finding hurdles to do that, maybe it's like you said, you just need to test some things. You need to just do some research and dig in a little bit and figure out and see what works for you because it's all unique.
Yeah. And it's going to be a challenge no matter what. I mean, I would not recommend waiting until like you have this to try it out because it is super frustrating. I mean, the first 3 days I was so irritated. I mean, I still had like the anesthetic in my system and I was just not a happy camper for a bit. I was like, I don't really want to respond to anybody's email because I can't.
Are you being like you're short?
I can't like give you a full explanation the way I normally would. You know me, I'm on the Colby, I'm a high fact finder. So I like to give you all the information you need to make a good decision. And I just can't type it all out. And it was frustrating. So people and I had that in like my autoresponder, please forgive the typos, emails will be delayed. It's going to be a challenge this week. Sorry. So people got really short emails.
You just mentioned autoresponder, and that's a good pivot, by the way, to our topic today.
Yes,
but I would
talking about email today.
We are talking about emails, but I want to tell you something I have recently uncovered that I've been doing that I'm having a lot of fun with, and it's also a great way to let people kind of know on the Authorpreneur, when you're wearing the Authorpreneur hat, the things you're doing and how people may be able to work with you. When I do some kind of deep dive work with clients, or if I'm doing a speaking engagement, there's nothing worse, Jen, than me coming back to over 100 emails that happened yesterday, and I'm digging out of them today. And I'm like, ooh, and you get all nervous and uncomfortable. But what I have found is I am using the autoresponder as an amazing tool to acknowledge what I'm doing, to promote the authors I'm working with, and to acknowledge why I'm doing it, so that people who might be emailing me or responding, looking for a response, knows, hey, like today's not a day. And there's some peace in like just knowing, but also to know that that's a way you can work with me. And so I think that. Yeah. And it's very freeing. Like I'm finding it peaceful and freeing for me, but I also think it's interesting because it's helping me leverage something we all overlook as a tool for promotion.
You know what? I mean, as you're speaking, I'm sitting here thinking about the fact that writers, as you're writing, you could have your autoresponder on email saying, hey, I'm not going to be on email till this time today because I'm working on my new book. Or, and if you have a pre-order, you could put a little pre-order, or you could say a little thing about it. Like, I think you could have a lot of fun with that. And people are very understanding. They've heard from you now. They know it's not a black hole. You haven't forgotten about them.
Right.
But it is a way to talk about, fun things that you're doing. I love that. Or, hey, I'm off speaking today, promoting my book, or, whatever you might, or even if you are just on vacation. Hey, I'm on vacation this week. Make sure you go pick up a copy of my book while you can't talk to me. You can read my book.
Well, so when it comes to just marketing in general, I think we all think it has to be hard. It has to be challenging and things we're not doing. And I'm a believer it doesn't. It shouldn't. There are things at our fingertips that we aren't even thinking about on the regular, and email is one of them. And that's why this month, as we've been talking about, really, what does it mean to be an authorpreneur, which is the lovely blend of writing a book and leveraging it to build or grow a business. There are things that authorpreneurs, I am finding, and both you and I are ones, that we all need, and we don't know you need. You don't typically know you need it until you need it. And email is one of them, both just sending emails one-on-one, but at a larger scale, email management systems or tools to help you do kind of larger email outreach.
I was telling an author the other day, we were talking about marketing. I said, if there's one thing that all authors should do, you should have an email list. That is the one thing. You can always reach out to your readers directly that way. You're not relying on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Facebook or any of those people who have their little algorithms that change all the time, you can always reach your people directly. And that is, if that's all you do, that is the most powerful thing in your toolbox. So there's a lot of ways to do it. Please don't email people out of your Gmail account or your Outlook account. Do not do that. You will get in trouble with the Spam Act. So you need something called, what do we call it? An email service provider?
Yeah, it's like what do they say? EMS, like an email management system. So for a long time, Jen, I called it a CRM, and most of them are not CRMs.
Right.
That's a whole different thing we'll talk about later. But we're talking about a way that you can send an email to a large group of people, or just a dedicated group of people that feel branded, that allows you to remain connected. So if you don't mind, I have a couple of things on what you just said I want to just like dive into. The first thing is most authors, most people in general, overlook how things that have don't fix what's not broke. Most people think, oh, well, but I need to do the text service, or I need to be on all the social platforms. And sure, you can do all that. But at the end of the day, email is the way people get information. It's still the most effective. And, because in the other, maybe texting is a good option. I'm going to test that out myself here shortly, maybe with book number 3 that we're working on together. Mm-hmm. But if you rest on social media, you're left with letting social media algorithms do the work. And you actually, what happens if someone just goes missing? You don't have that connection. So email is important, but you are exactly right. It's going to feel in your core, I'm just going to send them an email from my Gmail account. It's going to look great, or my, Outlook or whatever. And it won't. Once you are considered spammy, you cannot get in again. So leveraging a system that allows you to navigate any of the spam laws is what you have to do. Now, on the flip side, because I get this all the time, Jen, well, my MailChimp emails go to the promotions folder. Yeah, they probably will occasionally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to train your readers.
Yeah, you have to train your readers. But there is really no other way around it at this point. And it is the right thing to do. If you are selling, and I don't even if it's a relational email, when it comes from you as an author, a book business, a business built from your book, there's the underlying kind of expectation and knowledge that you're selling something, right?
Absolutely.
You're not doing it. Sure. You're in, and people don't want to give up that real estate. The people that is just extra salesy, the reason you need a system like this is to allow people to opt out. And that's what it is. It's all about being able to say, thank you, no, thank you. That was fun while it lasted, not interested. And you only want people on your list who want to be there. If they don't want to be there, they're going to actually mess with you get a score, a sender score. Mm-hmm. And if people complain that you're spam, they don't open your emails, they throw them in the trash, that actually hurts your score, and you pay for these people at some point. So most mailer services have a free tier. But once you get over that, you're paying basically, for your subscribers, and you don't want to pay for people who don't want to be there. So, you want to create newsletters. We don't even like to call them newsletters, but you know what I'm talking about when I say that. Yep. I personally call them updates because I'm letting people know what's going on in our world, but you could have some sort of fun name for it that goes with your book, with your product, whatever makes sense, that makes the readers feel like they're getting something special, that they're an insider, that they get the stuff that nobody else gets. And then they're going to want to open your email, and they're going to be excited about it. And you can create things. They're not going to be all buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. No, the idea is give them something of value, let them appreciate you as a person. So they're looking forward to seeing your name. And then they're like, oh yeah, they had a book. I need to go get that. Or, my friend was talking about a problem very similar. I should buy that book for her. And that's what you want. You just want to be top of mind. So they're going to be thinking about you. And that makes a big difference, instead of they're like, who is this person? Why are you in my email box? I don't know you. Go away. You don't right. No. So two things, again, you're just like, it's like we planned this, Jen. Some of the things you're saying, I'm like, as the marketer, I'm like, I want to dissect these two parts. I know. The first thing I want to dissect is how many people should be on your email list?
Good question.
I think this is something that stresses people out, stresses people out. So I'm the owner of the Empower PR Group. I teach people how to build email lists every day. And yet yesterday I had a VIP day with an author here in my home. It was so much fun. And we were chatting and she was talking about her email list. And I said, and this is vulnerable, I'm being honest and vulnerable. I'm pulling back the curtain, Jen. She said, well, and she was kind of talking to us about, she was kind of concerned about a couple things. And I said, well, how many people are on your email list? And she said about 2,000. I'm like, that's fantastic. Great job.
Yeah, right.
And I said, how many people do you think are on my email list? And she sat there and she goes, I don't know, like 5,000, whatever. I said, you want me to tell you for real? And she goes, yeah. I said, I think I just hit 120. She goes, what? I said, yes. And I said, I teach people how to build and grow email lists. This is one particular email list. I have another that has more. Yeah. But I share this in a very open, vulnerable way because I want you to know a couple things. First of all, I want you to be methodical about the people that come to your email list.
Quality.
Every person on my email list has been qualified. So these are 120 people who want to be there. My unsubscription rate is minimal. My open rates are massive, and they are the right people. The other thing I want you to sit back and rest on is who are those right people? So for instance, in my business, now I'm wearing the Authorpreneur hat here versus the book hat, but in my Authorpreneur hat, I have kind of like two groups. I have a group of people who are authors that might want to know more about book marketing. And then I have a group of what I call complementary service providers or industry experts that I also send information to so that they can share with their groups. It's kind of a different message that comes out. And I love that. I don't need massive lists. I need the right people. So I'm sharing that because I want people to know, do I want 5,000? Sure. One day we'll get there, but that is not a goal of mine directly. It's more about having the right people on the list.
Well, and if you had 2,000 people on your list and only 100, those 120 were the only ones opening it, that's going to actually make you look worse than if all you have is the 120. So you really only want the people on your list who are going to open your email. And so this is why these numbers can really, I call them a lot of times vanity metrics, because people throw out numbers in the book industry all the time, but without any context, it doesn't mean anything. So you could have, I know authors that have 10,000 people on their email list and they have a 1% to 2% open rate. That is not good. You got a ton of dead weight on there you need to get rid of because they are hurting you. And people hate to do it. They hate to clean their list because they're like, but what if they want to buy? No, they're not buying from you. They're hurting you. Get rid of them.
Yeah, so be slow and methodical. And as you're growing your email list, here's a couple of ideas to do that. The first one would be in your book, in the back of the book. I call that like your extra marketing materials. Make sure you have a lead magnet or something that would draw people to want to join the list. Here's why. I want you to think of, how much mental capacity you have in a day. And when somebody throws an email in your inbox, that's like, even if you delete it, that's like, 10 seconds of your life you can't get back. So people don't give their email real estate away for free. So what could you give somebody that would say, yes, they want to be on your list? So I think that's an option. I think as you figure out what that is, you could incorporate that lead magnet on your website as a way to kind of get people to join your list and get something. You could include it in an email signature. You could also include it in any speaking engagements you do. So I just did yesterday, and I had a great day yesterday. Yesterday I had a VIP day and I did a speaking engagement. It was so much fun. But for the speaking engagement, I had a downloadable workbook that aligned with what I was talking about. And instead of just giving the workbook out, which I would have happy to, what I had was a landing page on the website. I actually had a QR code. Okay, so this is fun. I had a QR code on the PowerPoint that they could scan. And it would take them to a landing page on the website. You know my process, where then they put their email in. When they get the email in, they're getting an email from me that has that downloadable. And then on the back end, so I love about email management systems, I had a 3 email sequence set up. And in a couple days, they'll get email number 2. And in a couple days, they'll get email number 3. There were like 20 people that were on the workshop, maybe 25, and 11 people so far had signed on for it. And I'm like,
those are your people. Those are the people that are going to convert, and they're going to enjoy that, and they're going to like that. And that is exactly what you want. I think there's a couple things that you mentioned that I think are good for us to talk about. One is segmenting your lists. So your email service providers, and let's just throw some names out. So MailChimp, MailerLite, I recommend that often because it's really pretty easy to use.
ConvertKit's one.
ConvertKit. So MailerLite and MailChimp have free, like up to 1,000 people on your list for free. You can get in there, play around, and have fun with it. ConvertKit also has a free thing, but ConvertKit is, and I use ConvertKit. It is
complicated.
For most people, do not start with ConvertKit. It's complicated.
Yeah, but start with one of the other two.
MailerLite, MailChimp. I've used both of them. And what they do is they allow you to tag your people. How did they come in? So you can segment them. So, for example, if if you have a book on finance, maybe you segment people by maybe you did a speaking thing to couples about finance. So you want them to might get certain newsletters, and then maybe business people that you talk to, they might get other newsletters. So you wouldn't necessarily cross those over, even though some of those might cross over. So you'd want to, in all of them, they allow you to tag your people as they come in. There's a way to automate that. But that means the email you send is more personal every time. You are sending something that sounds like, oh my gosh, how did you know I was just thinking about that? And that's what you want them to feel like. And so the segmenting list is fantastic.
Love it.
And then you also mentioned the sequences. And those are pre-written emails that automatically go out. And you can have them, I have some that are quite long.
I want to get, when we meet, I want to see it.
Yes, I have a lot. Actually,
I would love it all.
Because this is why I use ConvertKit, because I have my business part, which is helping authors, fiction authors, nonfiction authors, and then my own writing, fiction, nonfiction. My fiction is broken into romantic, suspense, and historical. I think I have a problem. Too many areas.
Hey, Jen. If you're going to have a problem, that's a good one to have.
It's a good problem to have. So I have sequences for all those things, and I tag all those people, and depending on what they want, what they're interested in. So that's why I have a much more robust automation system. For most people, you're not as crazy as I am, and you're going to do something a little more sane and simple. So,
and I would even
those
test
are great.
Before you invest. So like start small and
play
figure
around.
It out.
And that's what I did.
You need to know what you need. So there will be a day potentially that you have a 2,000, 10,000 email list and you're starting to pay for your service. You want to make sure that you know the types of things you need because they're not all created equal.
It's so true. And you exactly right. Play around, see what works for you, see what you need. But the idea of being able to pre-write all those emails and have them go out in your sleep is fantastic, right? You spend time, they're beautiful. You can put links in there. You can tell stories. You can do all the things that really showcase your writing skills. And it's a fantastic way to do that. So that's one of the best things about it. It's just automated. Like you don't have to, it can go out when you're on vacation or when you're sleeping or on the weekends. And that's one of the best things.
To give an automation, I'm going to give you an idea of a good one that I usually tell authors to consider. It's simple, but I like this 3-step automation. When I began the pivot to authorpreneurship, I did a lot of research and learning from other people. And what I found is obviously you can have more complicated ones. You can go farther than this, but the 3-step email is a really good, or 3 email sequence is a good one. The first one is offer delivered. And that is just great. Like, hey, you want the workbook? Fantastic. Download the workbook. And I'm going to send you an email with the workbook. Thank you so much. Enjoy your workbook. And then 3 days later, it's usually another value add. Hey, this was a lot of fun. I hope you liked the workbook. Was it great? Awesome. By the way, here's some podcasts to listen to. I did a video on this. I include what we call our video business card because at this point, I may not have spoken with them yet. And I'm like, just get to know me for a minute. I just want to share. I have more to share. Awesome. I'm not selling anything on either of those two. And then 3 days later, I'm still not selling. I hope you've enjoyed all of that. Listen, you don't have to do anything alone. Like we're here. And if we can help you, here's a link to the form to get on the calendar, like free 15-minute chats we have. If you've got a question, let me answer it. So in my 3 email sequences for that, I'm not even pushing anything. I'm building a relationship to get to a point where people sign up and we can have a chat. And again, even on my chats, I'm not selling anything. I'm giving value. When you give value, you will give. Your business will
give
grow.
Away the gold. Yes, I heard someone say that many years ago, and I love it. And there's actually been studies about the more stuff you give away, the actually higher your income ends up being.
It's true.
I mean, it's a true law of the universe, you know, the more, and it's true, the more you sow, the more you reap. So be generous, be generous. And when I see authors really trying to like, you know, I'm not going to give away anything for free. I worked really hard on that. You see it, like people sense it. There's something about that. So be generous. And I think that's a great way for people to get to know you and really enjoy that. So, so I love that. Well, fantastic.
Great chat.
So many things we could go on and on and on about email. I'm going to share, though, the book of the week, which I forgot to grab down. Newsletter Ninja by Tammy.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm covering her name. I totally love to recommend this. And a lot of it, many of it is sort of geared toward fiction, but some of her examples, but it totally applies for nonfiction. She's just fantastic. She explains why you need email, how to set it up, what to talk about, because people are always like, what do I talk about? And so I don't know, let's see if you can find a second.
I'm adding it to my cart.
I've highlighted like so many pages in this book because I just find it perfect. And she talks about, you know, how do you do this? And I love this. This is really kind of what we talked about. She says, just what you're saying, those 3 emails. She says, the key is to write these initial emails in a way that highlights all your best qualities, while at the same time send subtle signals to those who are not right for you that they can show themselves out.
Yes.
You know, and like, please do, and you know, we've said this a few times, but please do not keep people on your list who do not want to be there. They're not going to help you. It's just going to hurt you. So
your metric of success, I love that. Your metric for success in email management systems should not be the number of people on your email list. If you get nothing out of this, it shouldn't be that. It should be, how is your email list working to support you in selling books and building and growing your business, whatever. And those metrics will be unique to you. So it might be book sales, it might be open rates, it might be calls, whatever. But do not get hung up on the metrics that the marketing world and world in general tell you, so that you can tout that you've got a 15,000 email list. Nobody cares. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, if nobody's opening it, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter. Jen, what's your mug?
Oh, this is my my big giant mug because, you know, I need a little caffeine to get through the day.
I love it. Have I done this one yet?
No, that's so cute. Is that a local farm?
Girl, that's my farm.
Is that your farm? I cannot wait to come see your farm.
Yeah, my husband.
Redbird Farm.
My husband and I live on a 25-acre farm, and we had a logo built, our logo created. So we have a mug and we have a T-shirt or whatever. And it hit me this morning when I was getting out my tea because I needed it. I'm like, I don't know if I've ever showed my Redbird Farm mug. Yes, it was we very much.
I did not even know your farm had a name. Oh, I'm so excited.
We're going to get like a steal something one day. The story of the Redbird is in alignment with my first book and the loss of my grandma and how she has continued to share and connect with myself and my family by sending us redbirds. So when we got this farm, we kind of rested in the fact that we knew it was great because grandma would be able to fly free and be with us, and my kids and I, it made sense. Redbird Farm made sense.
Yes. I love that. That is so fantastic. Oh,
I can't wait for you to come out in a couple months.
Yes, it's going to be so much fun. We could do a live together.
Yeah, we will. That'll be so much fun.
We're going to have a good time. We're going to have so much fun.
We are.
Next week, we're talking about automation systems. So you touched on it a little bit when you said CRMs. So we will talk a little bit about that. That will be fun. I mean, honestly, the more you can automate your life as an author, right, the better.
I didn't know I needed automation until I got it.
Oh my gosh. Every time I add an automation, I'm like, oh, I can just do this. No. By the time, and then you automate, you're like, why would I ever go back?
And automations don't have to be non-personal. They can be personal,
they can be very personal,
meaningful and valuable. And I'm pumped to talk about how CRMs and automations can work in your life. You're going to love it.
So fantastic. Well, authors, thanks for joining us today. And remember, your words have power, your book has power, and your message has power. And we invite you to take that message to the page and to beyond with us.
Yes.
All
Have a great
right.
week, ladies.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.